Okay, let's look at some Luma blur now. This is a little bit of a craggly moonscape here. So similar things we did before with generating noise, generating height map from that using a PBR to make this topology here. And just a recurring point here. So this noise is 32-bit float. I'll show you what happens. So if this noise is just 8-bit, right, you see, oh, there's like little plateaus because these white parts here become plateaus because it's just solid white, just one. The black is just zero. There's no other nuanced info in there. And we see that reflected in our topography. 32-bit float, a lot more info that comes out of that. So yet again, something to use the 32-bit float for. So what I really want to focus on is this last little part right here, Luma blur. If I just hide this for a second. So right now this is all sharp. I'm doing a little bit of like lighting tricks actually. I've got like a cone light. Right, so cone light right here is kind of creating just this kind of shadow in the beginning here in the front. And even though I have a PBR, I'm not using an environment light at all. I'm just using it all with this just normal light. And you can see I kind of push the dimmer all the way to 5. So by default, if it was 1, if we don't have an environment light with the PBR, especially if you're on a Mac, it tends to do this, right? Like totally dark. So you just have to really push that dimmer high, and then you can compensate for that. So Luma blur is going to apply a blurring effect according to an input of a grayscale image, black to white. So if we look at the Luma blur settings here, so what is considered black here? So a value of 0 here. White would be a value of 1. I mean, we could tweak that if I do it like 0.16, let's say. So black is technically this gray value that's at 0.168, and then its filter width value gets applied like at that point. I'll just keep it 0, 1 though. So then you add a different blur filter width depending on like what this grayscale value is. So if white is super blurry, you can like really see it there actually, right? So it's basically no matter what the resolution of this is, it basically applies it, kind of vertically. So roughly this is maybe 25% of the image, right? So that's like all black, so that's fairly sharp here, and then it quickly gets very blurred back there. So this is just a really cool tilt shift trick. You can really play with all kinds of things here. Like what if I did, not radial, I want circular. Try that. All right, so now let's maybe do hold. There we go. And phase, right? So we're kind of like doing a little, that's a kind of a cool little blurry transition. Cool, okay. So experiment to your heart's content. Whatever shape you put here should be grayscale. That goes all the way from black to white. And then tweak these two settings here. The one thing that I maybe I'm missing something easy. I've always missed. Like you can't put black as 0. So 1 is the minimum filter width. And so then you'll notice, in this you can't really tell, but in other times you can kind of tell. If you want it to be 100% sharp, it still has a little bit of blur on it. And you can kind of play around with these different types. There's kind of different algorithms essentially for how the blur is calculated. And play around with this kernel width channel. So it has slightly different behaviors depending on what you do there. You can kind of fine tune things. But that looks pretty good.